What is up, guys? This is DKmagician and I welcome you to another Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links video. We are going to continue the trend of showing kinda old decks versus new meta type of videos that you have already seen in my channel. And the deck I want to show you today is a Gem Knight deck. Gem Knights are incredibly fun and I had this really fun match that I wanted to show you, which is what I'll do right now. So let's go. We are going to battle this boy from the USA, and he uses Yami Medic, and the skill he will be using is Shadow Game. This tells me that this is probably some sort of burn slash control decks, because Shadow Game will inflict damage with like cards in my graveyard, you know, every turn. So I start my strategy right away. I mean, after he plays his turn, and he just plays one card face down, which is kinda weird, and tells me, maybe your hand bricked, or maybe not. We'll see. First I'm gonna summon this guy, Gem Knight Electric. He's a really good card because it allows me to summon a normal monster from my hand, and I pretty much always like to bring out Gem Knight Lapis, and then I will use to summon this lady here, Gem Knight Ladies. What's her name again? Yeah, Lady Lapis Lazuli, which has really nice effects that unfortunately I won't be able to do because this stupid boy actually just wanted to start that way without monsters. He's going to return my monster to the extra deck and basically shut me down, and I can't do basically anything. Now, a disclaimer, this deck that you are seeing me playing right now won't be exactly the same deck that I'll show you in the end, where I'll be explaining the deck, because I had a Polymerization card in this deck and a Gem Knight Fusion, and if this was a Gem Knight Fusion card, then I wouldn't have been shut down like this. But yeah, I didn't have two Gem Knight Fusions, just one. Yeah, I just had to play with what I had, you know. Now I'm gonna suffer because I have nothing to protect myself, and my opponent is going to swarm me with these cards that didn't exist back in the day when I used to play, which are these Yozenchu Kama things. They play kinda like spirit monsters because they will return to the hand after like in the end phase. But these ones I would say are far more dangerous because they're actually just great, fantastic at swarming the field. This guy, when he summons it, he can normal summon another Yozenchu monster from his hand, which doesn't have the same name. They're all like Yozenchu Kama 1 and 3, and basically now I have these guys that I have to contend with. And this guy has basically the same effects, and he's able to summon another monster. Honestly, I think that this is a really crappy, but yeah, he might have a reason to summon these Yozen counters, whatever. All I know is that I'm going to take a bunch of damage, and fortunately this is not enough to beat me, but it's close. I'll be just with 500 HP, which is really bad, you know. This guy, if he deals damage, he can recruit a monster to his hand, which is what he does. And yeah, he'll take a little bit of damage from the Shadow Game skill. And fortunately I draw a very important card here, which is Gem Knight, not Gem Knight, just Gem Turtle, which is a support card from the Gem Knight decks, which will save my arse. But yeah, I also show that the skill I have is Switcheroo. You can probably get away with Destiny draw instead of Switcheroo, but I prefer playing with this guy because he has like more funny dialogues, you know. I'll be just at a sliver of health, and this looks really bad, you know. He's going to bring out this guy and basically do the same thing and try to like finish me. Later he brings this guy which has 0 attack and defense, but basically this guy has an effect that if he's attacked by battle, you will get exactly the same attack of your opponent. So basically it's not easy to pass through this guy. But yeah, here I reveal what my card is, and I can now finally draw a Gem Knight fusion, which is like a super great polymerization, as you will see. And well, now it's my turn. You will take a little bit of damage, and I must end the duel this turn, because at the end of this turn I will like die because of the Shadow Game skill. And here I was just planning my attack very carefully, because yeah, I had to read the description of this, and I was thinking, okay, I have these, which basically allows me to have as many fusions as I can, but yeah, it's not gonna be easy. My opponent thinks he's not with me because he has a negate, which is kinda bad. So this deck can return monsters to the hands, and it can also negate cards, which is, you know, fortunately, as I said, this is a very good polymerization card, because by banishing one card, one Gem Knight monster from my graveyard, which, well, probably I already used it like prior to using this card, because you use them as fuel, you know, I can bring it to my hand again and I can retry the fusion. I decide to bring Gem Knight Zirconia, so I can get rid of the turtle and use it as a fusion material. Also because I'll need something to beat over this guy. And I'm gonna recycle my Gem Knight fusion and use these two boys to special summon from my deck the Gem Knight Topaz, which is a kinda weak Gem Knight monster, but has a really fun effect that allows you to attack twice. And I was just making a few calculations, and this might be enough. So here's the thing, I'm gonna crash Gem Knight Zirconia against my opponent. We both take no damage. He activates an effect that allows him to draw another of his Zenjus, but doesn't really matter, because this boy can now attack twice and empty the field. And I managed to defeat this boy. And we got to double, yay! It was a really nice deck. I didn't really expect to win this, you know. And I'm gonna just show you just one more where I actually managed to get my place. And here I believe I already had like the upgraded version of this deck, where I replaced the polymerization with the Gem Knight fusion. This will be, however, much easier. And I start by doing the same thing I did in the previous match, bringing out this boy or this lady. Then I'll just special summon this lady, and now I can finally show you the great effects that this lady has, the Lady Lapis Lazuli. I'm gonna send to the graveyard the Gem Knight Lazuli, inflict a little bit of damage, and through the effect of Gem Knight Lazuli, I'll be able to recycle one of my normal monsters that I used previously in the fusion summon, which was Gem Knight Lapis again. And because I have Gem Knight Fusion in the graveyard, I can banish one monster and then bring it back. Now let's see what my opponent does. Actually does nothing, so probably got a bricked hand or something. And I'm gonna do the same thing with Gem Knight Alessandrites. I'm going to bring another Gem Knight graveyard, reactivate the Gem Knight Lady Lapis Lazuli effect, which is once per turn. Now I can bring another normal monster back to my hand. And let's bring out the boss monster from my deck, the Gem Knight Lady Brilliant Diamond, which is a very strong beat stick and also has another effect. And well, this match definitely wasn't very good for my opponent, but yeah, I wanted to show you these two matches. The first one was definitely a competitive one, the second, well, not really, you know. So you can see what happens when your strategies do not go through and when they do. And let's go over my deck really quick. We have Gem Knight Turtle, which you've already seen what it does. It allows you to bring your Gem Knight Fusion, which is an incredibly important card for this deck, which is allowing it to function, you know. After you flip it, it can also be used as a fusion material for Gem Knight Zirconia because it requires a rock type monster, and Gem Turtle is a rock type monster. Then we have Gem Knight Alexandrite, which honestly is a fantastic card. I absolutely love this card. It basically allows you to bring any other cards, any other like normal monster from your deck, and most of the time I go for the Gem Knight Lapis if I have the Gem Knight Fusion in my hand. If I don't have Gem Knight Fusion in my hands, I bring out Gem Knight Crystal, which is just a generic beat stick. You don't really want this card in your hand, in your starting hand, but even if you do, you can probably get away with like getting rid of it with Gem Knight Fusion. Also, at the same time, when you normal summon this guy, you are thinning your deck because you're getting rid of it, and you are using it as like a fuel for a Gem Knight Fusion. So this card just does it all. Gem Knight Alexandrite is great. We have this, which is a kinda niche card. If I send it from the hand to the graveyard, I can target a normal monster in my graveyard and special summons that targets. So basically, if I perform, the spirit of this card is pretty simple. If I perform a fusion involving this card and any other of my normal monsters, I can just bring that normal monster again. We have Gem Knight Lazuli, which just works incredibly with Gem Knight Lady Lapis Lazuli card, because you basically all you need to do is either use this card as a fusion material, or you can just proc the effect of this card to basically only spend one normal monster and then have a fusion monster on the field, because this allows you to bring back a normal monster from your graveyard to your hand and later enhance your plays. So yeah, very simple card, which is like a great fool for my deck. Then we have Gem Knight Crystal. You already seen this. Basically, as I already said, you just get rid of this card and either bring out this or this. And if you don't have Gem Knight Fusion in your starting hand, you might as well bring out Gem Knight Crystal because it's a generic mythic, kinda good attack. We have Garnet, which, well, basically is here just for normal monsters slash fusion material things. We have Tourmaline, which is a kind of weaker version of Gem Knight Garnet. Sometimes you can end on opponents with Gem Knight Topaz, because this is a kind of like one-trick pony deck. Most of the time what you want to do is try and OTK your opponents, so bringing out this guy to attack twice over something can be nice. We have Gem Knight Lapis, which is an even weaker version of this, but it's necessary requirement to bring this card. I only run it at once per deck because I'm hoping that I either start with it or one Gem Knight Alexandrite, and then start my plays by bringing Gem Knight Lady Lapis Lazuli out. Then we have Gem Knight Fusion. You have already seen what it does. What this does. In the first video, as I said, like in the first video, not in the first match that I showed you, I only had one of these cards in my hand, like in my deck, and one Polymerization. And Polymerization is just so much weaker than Gem Knight Fusion because of the ability to recycle this card. I actually had to open packs like to get a second copy of this card. I only had one, and yeah, with running at 2, it's just fantastic. But yeah, basically you perform a Polymerization, then you can banish one Gem Knight monster from your graveyard, and you bring out this card from your graveyard again. It's great if your opponent negates it. You negates it once and then you use it again. It's just fantastic. Then we have some generic trap supports. We have Kunai Chain. You can probably replace this with enemy controller. Maybe it's better, maybe it's not. I like using this card because sometimes it gives me the attack boost I need to get rid of one opponent. We have these, which in case I have like a very horrible starting hand, it allows me to protect one of my monsters from an attack, and maybe gets the plays on the second turn. powerful revert here is basically doing the same thing as like my protecting cards. If I want, like if I can, maybe I'll try and bring out one of the monsters from my graveyard and then use it as full with Gemnite Fusion. Wall of Disruption is a great like hand, Battle Trap. You already know what this does. It's absolutely fantastic. It's basically on every deck. Why shouldn't it be on this deck? Then we have Windstorm of Etakua. If I had like 3 walls of disruption, I'd probably use them. This feels like a kind of weaker wall of disruption, but works just fine. And since I don't have 3, I must use this. Then let's go for the extra deck. This is the boss monster from my deck. Most of the time I actually don't use this card because it uses a lot of resources, unless I may have unless I'm trying to OTK and I've already exhausted some resources from my opponents. But basically what this does is that you summon it with 3 Gemnite monsters, then you can get rid of 1 Gemnite monster you control and special summon from your deck any other fusion Gemnite monster. So basically it has a built-in Polymerization with just 1 monster effect, so it's pretty good. We have Gemnite Zirconia, which is a pretty simple beat stick. It has 2900 attack and basically is here because it's very easy to summon with either Gemnite Crystal or Gem Turtle. This is, don't forget, is the only non-Gemnite monster I have in my deck, so I need to have a way of using it as material, and basically Zirconia is here for that. Then we have this, which adds potential for OTKs again. This deals piercing damage, which is interesting for OTKs, you know, in case your opponent is just playing defensively, you know. And you can also get rid of one of your own monsters to give this monster more attack and deal even more piercing damage. If you're in an advantage situation, you can maybe get rid of this lady and give this a ton of attack and basically pierce your opponent to that. Gemnite Topaz, probably the gimmickiest card of my deck, but yeah, it works. You have already seen it working and it's pretty fun. Basically, this allows you, this can attack twice, and if it destroys a monster by battle, it inflicts damage equal to my opponent's attack in the GI, so it's good. And you have already seen this card, Gemnite Lady Lapis Lazuli, working. Basically, for every monster you special summon, or I mean, not that you special summon, I mean that sits in the field. Yes, in the field. If your opponent is running special summoned monsters, these will inflict damage, it will hurt them too, you know. But basically you send 1 Gemnite monster from your deck to your graveyard and you will probably send this card, you know. And then inflict some burn damage, and then with the combo of this card we will be able to normal summon 1 monster, most of the time 1 of these, you know. From your graveyard, well, most of the time discard, you know, and then continue your plays, because then you'll probably have Gemnite Fusion again. You already know the drill. I've showed you in the second duel how this combo works, and it works just fine. This is honestly, this is like a one-trick pony deck. Like just some final thoughts about this deck. If you can manage to get your plays, and even if your opponent negates 1 Gemnite Fusion, you are probably fine. Probably you can be fine with Wall of Disruption again, because you can probably fusion on your monsters again in case your opponent procs these against you. But yeah, this deck kinda lacks a little bit of back row removal, so you can probably replace some of these cards with back row removal, maybe Gemnite of Obsidian, which is the hardest one to maybe use in his effect, or maybe Windstorm of Etakua, which is the weakest link maybe in my deck. So you may probably replace this card with some form of back row removal and enhance your OTK potential. I like using Switcheroo As I said, you probably can get away with Destiny Draw. Maybe it's even better than Switcheroo, but yeah, I like trolling my opponents. This guy definitely has some really nice, real nice dialogues and like calling your opponent names and stuff. Anyway, guys, this was the Gem Knight showcase. Hope you have enjoyed this deck and this video. And that will be all for this one. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you around for the next one. Bye bye.